Alright guys, welcome back to the last video in the series. Here's the rough stuff that we're going to be using for weathering today. Black Panaline accent color. These are powders. Dusty brown, Grammy black. These are from Monroe Models. There's the website if you want to get them, by the way. monroemodels.us. Local hobby shop should have it. And then this is a life color, acrylic hobby color. South Europe Mud is what this one is. And that one's a liquid. It's an acrylic liquid. And that's what we're going to be using today. So I'm going to set some of these off to the side, and we're going to start with the liquids first before we get into the powders. So you always want to shake these well. And we're going to start with the Panaline accent. And we're going to start on the trailer because it'll be easy. So when you shake it, these have their own built-in little mini applicator brush. You don't want a lot on there, you just need a drop. And then you're going to take and come in here and highlight any lines that you feel like accenting, and you're going to see how that's just going to pull details out. Just like that. Now you have some nice, more pronounced details, and then of course we're going to do weathering over the top of this after this dries. But it's a good way to do it. Also, in doing that, I realized that there's lights here on the end that I did not paint, so we will paint that too real quick. But same with the sides. There's some nice accents here. Don't worry about it kind of running. That's what it should do. It should run. It's okay that there's dots. They're going to look like oil stains, and that's actually going to work in our favor because we have a lot of oil stains we're going to be putting onto this. And so hit up your details. Let's see, there's a couple like that. Don't forget to hit inside your wheels. This will bring out all of those nice details that you have from your print. Flip that over. Do the same thing over here. There's a little bit different doors over here. This will highlight those nicely. And then, like I said, we'll use weathering powders to bring out the rest because we're going to do some streaking. There we go. Just like that. So that looks good for the trailer. Moving on to the semi itself. You have all these vents right here. And see how that just pops those out, makes those look really nice and pronounced pretty much immediately. Which is really neat to see from a detail standpoint. We'll kind of do the same around here. Highlight some of the details on the fuel tank. Use that to kind of create some of that fuel look, like it's had fuel leaks on it before. Notice I'm doing it behind there to pop the rivets in the frame. Just like that. I'm going to do it on top here as well. This is usually a greasy spot anyway. Let's see, there's door handles. Yeah, see how that brings out all those nice details. You get to see it and actually realize that it's there. It's a nice, super nice tool to have. There's some side vents. There's the hood lines right there, and the latches. Okay, and then same with the steps. We're gonna actually kind of paint it on the steps a little bit more. It'll actually look pretty neat when that's done. You'll see some nice details. Going to the other side, back to the vents. Just like that. Hit the top of your smokestack. We're gonna cover that more later with weathering powders. There's some nice details around your air intake. Let's go hit the door. There's that. Here's the hood latches again. Just like that. We'll go ahead and highlight the ridge down the hood. Works out pretty nice. And then, oops, I forgot. I'm gonna highlight some of these rivets here on the side. You don't need a lot. A little bit goes a long way on this, but it's enough that it, brings in some nice accents and will help this look a little more greasy and polished at the same time. Polished from a standpoint of it looks real, and greasy like it should, and you're also going to make these details show up a lot better. Yeah, see that? Nice looking details. Now, let's see, what else am I missing? Didn't hit the tank here, so go ahead and hit that. And the front. Oh, and I didn't do the steps over here either. There we go. Okay, and then the front. Same thing, we're going to just do this to the grill. My apologies, I'm doing that off camera. There we go. Just like that. Those are some good details to start. I like the way that's looking. I think we're good on the panel line black. Next, what we're going to do is going to use this. This is the North American Mud one to highlight more of the tire tread areas that are going to be dusty, stuff like that, before we get into the powders and we start doing our powders across. So with this one, we're going to jump back over to the trailer. I'll flip it over. And apparently I have something wrong with my resin, because I still am getting, see all the white that's right there? That looks wet, that's actually resin that's leaking from somewhere, and I think it's leaking from inside the model, but I don't exactly know on that one. So, whatever, we'll get it figured out. Alright, let's find a small brush that we can use for this. Here we go. This is a smaller brush. This is a 10-point brush. If you really want some nice brushes, go find these Tamiya brushes, also at a hobby store. These ones are really nice. This is let's see here. This is a high fine point. These are both pros right here, Pro and Pro 2. And if you're curious, I can give you the item numbers on those. But they're expensive. Just be prepared for that. But they are totally worth it if you need to do tiny little details. So, okay, we're going to take this, and we're actually going to add a few drops of this into here, like that. We don't need a lot. It's probably more than we actually need. And we're going to take, let me set this back over to the side here quick, sorry. We're also going to take that pipette from earlier when we were doing the airbrush stuff. We're going to take some water, and we're going to add, a few drops of water to it, just like that. And then take your brush. Since this is acrylic, you can mix it with water and mix it really well like this. What that's going to do, ignore the white, that's old. That's going to do is that's going to start to thin it. And we want it to be runny. We're not quite there yet, so let me get a little more. There we go. Because we want this to run. That's part of the whole weathering effect of this here. Nice even mixture. There we go. That's what we want. We want to be able to touch it and have it run. So wipe off all the mixing part of that off on your paper towel. And take and just get some on here. And then kind of same thing as before. We're just going to start dabbing. You're going to see how those details in that tread tires are going to start to show up really nice. Just like that. And it's okay. It's okay to get it on the sides. We kind of want that anyways, because this is very dusty, very dirty. And do you see how that's starting to show up? How it's starting to look like some very nice tread details, just like that. Kind of keep using your brush to push it around. If you get too much, dab off your brush, and then you can go over it again. You'll pull that paint right back off while it's wet. And then if you really don't like it, you can use water to redo it. You can also use rubbing alcohol. It's a little more abrasive, so just be warned of that. But let's get in here. We'll get these tires kind of finished and highlighted and accented. I'm going in between them as well. This is going to give it some nice dried dust area. In the movie, they're out in the desert, so this is important because it is just constant light dry dust. Hold that still. There we go. This is really going to also make this whole model just pop even that much more. It's going to look great on the layout. Same thing, try and get your brush down in there. We'll make sure that it looks okay from all the sides too. The other modeling powders, the Monroe ones, if you guys have been watching my channel for a while, those are actually ones that I use for detailing track. They work incredibly well on models, and if you're weathering train cars or anything like that. Personally, myself, I actually started building models a long time ago, and that's one of my other hobbies that I do, and so I'm a little more used to doing some of this, having a little bit more exposure to some of the different techniques when it comes to building models and what to do and what to avoid, stuff like that. But it's where it comes in, and if you've ever thought about getting involved in building models, you're kind of already doing it, and I highly recommend you check it out and give it a shot if there's some stuff you want to build. There's really neat stuff out there. Alright. So, not perfect, which is good, because real life isn't perfect. So there we go. We're going to let that dry for a little bit. I'm going to come over here, do it to the semi as well. Sorry about the camera autofocus. Let's get that changed here. And same thing again. And then the rest we're pretty much going to do with weathering powders. You can do it with acrylic paints too. Like, don't feel like you just have to do it with powders. It's not what I'm saying. I just prefer the powders. I like the way they cover better. I feel like they do an even better job of what I want them to do. It's just a personal preference. Nothing that you guys need to feel like, oh shoot, I'm doing this the wrong way. It's not it at all. Let's see here. This one is... I must not have gotten all the paint off of there, because that one's just not showing that tire tread detail like I hoped it was, but that's okay. This is still going to look super good when it's done. Okay. Also, don't be afraid to use reference photos. You've heard me mention that in one of the earlier videos. I use the reference photos on this semi for doing this myself. And let me do this and tilt this down a little bit more so you guys can see it better. And it helps me understand like details, colors, what I'm missing, what I got, what was right. Let me flip this over and hold it. And do the underside now. So don't feel like reference photos are a bad thing, or you're just copying someone else's work or anything like that. That's not true. This is all part of the process. making sure that we get some decent coverage there on the tires. Oops, there's too thick right there. A little too thick. Okay, so the weathering powders, we're going to start with the streaking on the trailer. There's like oil streaking basically on top, and it's kind of in lines of dust and oil, I guess is a good way to put it. Nobody's ever really specified what this trailer's hauling. It just says flammable. I don't have any flammable decals, at least I don't think. I'll double check on that. And but yeah, so that's I'm assuming oil just based off of like the black streaks I saw in the photos, because that's pretty typical with hauling oil, transporting oil, is that you're gonna see those black streaks. But could be gasoline, could be diesel fuel, we don't know. Kind of wish I had some HO scale license plates put on the front of this, because that's another thing that he has, is a bunch of license plates like they're his like trophies, you know, on the front. I think that would be a neat touch. Okay, tires done. Come back in, add some dusty details along the edges of the rims, and so since we have the paint out, we'll just use it like this. Just kind of dab some in there, let it kind of run around, just like that. There you go. When that dries, you'll see that show up pretty nice. Okay, just like that. Did the same on the front tires here. Ignore the couple of streaks, those are my bad. There we go. Okay. It's a little too much right there. I'll pull that kind of off. Gonna make that look a whole lot better. Let's let that dry. We'll keep that available just in case we decide we want to do something different with that. And let's move on to weathering powders. Okay, for the first one here, we're going to be using the Grimy Black. One of the things that's different this time around versus if you've watched any of my model railroad videos is this time I'm using a different brush, this one. It's an angled one, it's pretty stiff, which is something good that we want, but because this is a smaller brush, it's going to give us better details. So, dab it in here. We're going to take and start dabbing it around here because we want this to be grimy, and then we're just going to start streaking it over the side, just kind of like this. And feel free to grab more if you need. We're just going to do this because it's obviously has some running and some streaks to it. And then when we're done, we're going to use the dust streaks. We're going to use a little bit different brush for that. It'll be a little bit different technique. So once again, same thing around here, same thing around here. And I keep forgetting to paint those red lights on the back. We'll do that. Don't let me forget. And so down the sides. Just like this. Since that's where the filler caps are, it's okay to have that be a little bit wider, streaking down the side, because that's kind of a normal thing. Feel free to blow on it a little bit if you need to blow some of the details off. Oops, my bad. And then in the main areas, use like just some really light streaking, just like that. And then, like I said, we're going to use a wider brush to do dust over this, so that even though this seems really pronounced right now, it won't be for long by the time that we're done with it. Okay, a little bit more. Flip that a little bit. Okay, same thing. We're just gonna add in a couple streaks here and there. We're gonna really cover up here in the top. We want that to be darker. A couple more dark streaks. Same thing in the back. We're gonna add a couple of dark streaks down this like that. There you go, not bad. We could add a few up here too, and then we're gonna put a bunch of grimy black here because this is closest to the exhaust, and so you're gonna get a lot more of that dry soot here in this area. Okay, just like that. Not bad, not bad. All right. On the semi itself, we don't need a whole lot for black weathering powders. We're just going to basically add some on here to the top of the exhaust stack and pretty much call it good there. That'll kind of blend all that in. But otherwise, you're pretty decent on all your details. Now it's time to move on to the dusty brown weathering powder. Wipe that brush off. And let me find the right brush for this one. Okay, this one is going to be a wider angled brush as well. We're going to focus more for dusty areas on this one. We're going to kind of use it to hide some of the black streaking that we did, but we're going to really be focusing on the bottom. And so to start with, we're going to take and we're going to start doing some of this. We're just going to kind of dab in areas like this that we know are going to be dusty. And then shake that out a little bit. And then same thing, just start dabbing. It's going to help us kind of show that this is on the road constantly, just like that. Okay. Don't be afraid to blow some out if you need to. And there's a little bit too much in the wheel right there, so that's okay. We can worry about that later. But you see it's starting to have that nice dusty appearance to it. Another thing that we're going to do then is very light dust streaking over the top here. And you can see how that's kind of just coming down nice. I don't know where that white came from, but I actually don't mind that. It actually looks decent in my opinion. So we're going to do some of this just like that. More dusting on the top. Let's go to the other side. And same thing. Let's focus on the bottom first. So thicker area through here. And don't forget under here at the front as well because of the wheels on the semi. There you go. A little bit better dusting there. Just like that. Get some more dust in there. And then same thing as before. We're just going to do some nice gentle dusting down. The white's coming from within the weathering powder somewhere. That's okay. Kind of like that there. It gives it some nice streaking. Makes it look like it's been scraped or something like that. And just like that. Let's use the tip of the brush. Get a little bit more dusty here. Just like that. There we go. Okay, now I mentioned that there's a little bit too much in there. We're going to find a smaller, stiff brush. This could be an older one. And we're just going to go in there like this and kind of go in a circle. We'll kind of push some of it in place. You can blow, and that'll kind of help get out if there's too much of an excess in there. And you can do the same over here because we did it too much on that side too. There, not bad. All right. I'd say that's a pretty decent start right there to how that's looking. Let's move on to the tractor trailer And real quick, I noticed I missed some spots here and here, so we're gonna touch those real quick. Does that look pretty good? I think so. All right, over to the tractor trailer, and this stuff does kind of get everywhere, so like I got it on my jeans, no big deal, but just a note, like here, you'll have to end up wiping it with something, like you'll actually need like a damp cloth to wipe that, but no big deal. All right, so same thing here. We're going to focus on primarily the underside and wheels and frame because of dust and how that works. And we're going to do in between and around, just like that. There you go. A little bit dusty. Don't forget underneath on this one as well, because you have a lot of dirt and grime and dust underneath. And since, like I said, this is made to be after the one from the movie where it's out in the desert, which, even though that doesn't fit with my theme for the railroad, we'll make it similar to the one from that. And then make sure that all pulls it all together. A little bit too much there. That's okay. We'll fix that. There we go. All right. How's that looking? Not too bad. I'm going to add just some very light to the hood. And fenders, just to give it that dusty appearance, and then to the roof as well. Get some nice streaking there. Let's add a tiny drop of it. There we go. Get some nice streaking. And then we're gonna just gently add some to the windows, and overall that looks pretty decent, I would say. Okay, let's grab the stiff brush here. Same thing, made it a little too thick on this wheel back here, so that's pretty good. Get it a little too thick on this one and on the front one. There you go. Now, there's other weathering that we can add to this if you feel like it, or if you feel like it, go right ahead. But as far as I'm concerned, I'm pretty happy with how that looks. And so if we look at that together, especially on the layout, that's going to look pretty decent in my opinion. I didn't get that right. And here, we'll zoom in so you can see it a little bit better. My bad. Sorry for the shakiness. And I would say that's, oh man, I am not doing that well today for you guys. I apologize. Overall, not bad. Pretty happy with that. I think that looks nice and decent. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed these videos, that you have some ideas on what to do for some of your upcoming builds now, that maybe you got some inspiration from them or anything like that. But let me know if you have questions. Members get extra perks, and members, if you were a member already, you were able to access this video a whole lot sooner. And actually, all 4 of these, I should say, a whole lot sooner. So thank you guys as well. Otherwise, appreciate you guys stopping by, and thank you. We'll see you next time.